we're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new style, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you. It's Wednesday, October 15th here in Seoul. I'm Isijin, and this is News Generation. Joining us today is Ki.
Happy Hump Day.
Happy Hump Day, and also Brooke is with us.
Hello, great to be back.
Good to have you. And both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. So it's the middle of the work week, and while many of us are already daydreaming about our next weekend getaway, there's been some interesting travel news coming out of the region. So recently, headlines have been buzzing about a change in travel rules between South Korea and China. As of September 29th, South Korea allowed visa-free entry for travelers from China. So Ki, can you explain why this change is significant? How long will it remain in place?
Sure. So the visa-free entry was introduced on September 29th, 2025. It is a temporary and pilot program that will run until June 30th, 2026. And under the scheme, Chinese nationals who join group tours organized by the designated travel agencies, group of 3 or more, can enter South Korea without a visa for up to 15 days. And the program does not apply to individual Chinese travelers, only to those traveling via eligible group tours. But as there always has been, there's an exception for Jeju-do Island. The existing visa-free policy for both individual and group Chinese tourists to Jeju remains in place, allowing stays up to 30 days. And one main aim is to boost tourism and stimulate the domestic economy by attracting more Chinese visitors. It also serves as a diplomatic purpose as a reciprocal matching move following China's earlier decision to grant visa-free access to South Koreans. Now, this started from the previous administration, and getting a visa for China, there's many different ways. There's agencies who are doing it for you, and sometimes it costs like $30, $50, $100 before the move made by Chinese government. And we are trying to get the momentum of these foreign diplomacy going, especially with upcoming APEC in Gyeongju.
Which is something we all look forward to. So do you think this recent change in travel rules will have a noticeable impact on the number of tourists coming to Korea from China, Brooke? So we've already seen signs of recovery in Chinese visitor numbers lately. So it makes me wonder if this policy could further accelerate this trend.
I do think so, and I'll go into more specific numbers later, but we should see a visible lift in the number of Chinese visitors that are coming to South Korea thanks to this new pilot program, which Ki so nicely explained for us. And I think that this pilot really was strategically timed. They actually cleverly launched it right before China's National Day Golden Week, which fell from October 1st to the 8th. And sure enough, in Myeongdong in Seoul, which is one of the hottest tourist spots, reportedly, they saw massive crowds of Chinese tourists wearing their t-shirts and with their agencies. And it was just a really vibrant, fun atmosphere that reflects the fact that there has been a revival and an increased sense of momentum in terms of the bilateral tourism between the two countries. And I think that is wonderful to see. South Korean officials also project that this new policy, along with the travel surge that happened over the holiday, as well as the upcoming APEC summit, is going to better the relations between the two countries, and it also could result in more than 1 million additional Chinese tourists visiting South Korea in the first half of next year. So really positive signs for things to come.
So with this reinstatement of the visa-free entry to Korea, there's likely to be an even bigger new wave of Chinese tourists eager to rediscover the country from its pop culture to its food and fashion. So let's take a look at the screen to learn more. Visa-free entry, which allows foreign nationals from certain countries to enter another country for a limited time without first obtaining a visa, is a major convenience for tourists. With South Korea reinstating visa-free entry for Chinese nationals, the country is expected to see renewed enthusiasm for Korean culture and travel. It's now easier than ever for Chinese visitors to come and experience Korea's rich history, vibrant pop culture, and everyday life, whether for the first time or as a long-awaited return. Today on News Generation, we'll take a closer look at why more young people from China are visiting Korea and how the country is becoming one of the trendiest and most sought-after destinations around the world. So as we just saw in the video, Korea is quickly becoming a top destination for Chinese tourists, with more young people eager to explore its culture, cuisine, and pop culture. The reinstatement of visa-free entry has made it easier than ever for them to visit, and we're already seeing signs of steady rebound in travel from China. And part of the steady increase seems to come from what's being called 서울병 or Seoul Syndrome, a term used to describe the feeling of missing Seoul so much it almost makes you heartsick. So it's a growing trend among young Chinese travelers who's falling in love with the city and its culture. So Ki, can you tell us what exactly this means and why so many young people are using this term to describe their feelings about Korea?
Sure. As a Seouler for all my life, this kind of is a new term for me. But the term Seoul Syndrome is a new buzzword among young Chinese travelers describing the feeling of longing for Korea after returning home, or even sometimes on the way to the airport returning home. I've seen some video footages and it's quite interesting. And it's become a trend on Chinese social media where countless posts and share heartfelt reflections such as Seoul is my utopia. There's no cigarette smell or car honking on Seoul street, and I miss the old singing rooms and spicy tteokbokki. And these posts reveal a growing nostalgia for moments, the atmosphere experienced in Seoul, a city that continues to captivate visitors long after they've left.
So that's really interesting. It sounds like for a lot of them, Seoul isn't just a city they visit, the feeling that they carry with them afterwards. So it's also really cool to see that what they remember most isn't just landmarks or shopping, but those small everyday experiences that for us, we sometimes kind of take for granted, such as like street food. So Brooke, have you seen any other particular striking examples of this online?
Yes, there have been some viral videos, including one young woman who was seen experiencing her Seoulbyung, her Seoul homesickness on the subway on the way to Incheon International Airport because she was so sad. She didn't want to leave Korea. And, you know, as someone who has lived in Korea for almost 10 years now, I can really relate to this feeling. Of course, I love going to the US and seeing my family. I miss them terribly. But back in the old days, I used to think of it as like, oh, I'm going back home for a little bit. But now when I visit the US, it's the opposite. I think, oh, I'm going back to home, which is Korea now. So it's really changed for me. This has become my home. And I think if I ever permanently had to leave, I would also cry on the way to the airport because it's just such a great place to live. And this is not just anecdotal evidence, right? You could see it in the numbers themselves. So if you take a look at the screen here, I'll walk you through them. According to the Korea Tourism Organization, Chinese arrivals to Korea rose from about 2 million in 2023 to 4.6 million in 2024 after the COVID-19 pandemic, showing great recovery, like we mentioned earlier. And it actually reached 3.12 million from January to July 2025. So that's just half the year. And now it showed that it was up 17% compared to the same period last year, which I think means that by next year, when we revisit these numbers, I think we're going to see an even greater statistic showing that there are more and more Chinese visitors that are eager to come to South Korea, especially thanks to this new policy that we've been talking about. I think we're really going to see this trend continue to rise.
I think that's so sweet that you now consider Seoul your home.
I do.
So what are some little things that kind of make it feel like home?
Oh gosh, I have to say the food. I think I love Korean food so much, and I actually miss it. Even when I'm in the US for only a week or two, I find myself just craving a good bowl of tteokbokki or chapagetti. I'm just so hooked on Korean food. So whenever I come back, I am very excited to order some paedar and just sit and enjoy the Korean flavors. I also just think that Korea has that feeling of jong, you know, like you just kind of feel that sense of closeness with people because it's such a group-oriented society. I feel safe when I land. It just feels like I'm in this nice, comforting little bubble when I'm in Korea, and that's why it feels like home to me.
You also mentioned some stats, so that's a quite significant jump. It really shows how strong the rebound in travel has been since the pandemic. So it seems like the combination of Korea's cultural appeal and easier traveler policies is clearly driving up those tourism numbers. But beyond the stats, I'm sure there's also an emotional side of this trend that Brooke also mentioned. So Ki, why are so many young Chinese people experiencing what's being called Seoulbyung or Seoul Syndrome? What is it about Korea that makes such a lasting impression on them?
I think Seoul Syndrome is already permanent for Brooke because for the fact that she's saying 배달 instead of food delivery.
That's right.
So,
That's a good point.
So pundits say actually this Seoul Syndrome is more than just a case of post-travel nostalgia. It reflects a deep yearning for Korean culture and the city itself. So they know daily life in Korea leaves an impression that goes beyond ordinary travel memories. It's remembered as a moment of healing and freedom. Many interpret this sentiment as the emotional realization of long-held expectations built through K-pops, K-dramas, and the entertainment shows they watch, a feeling that grew within their hearts when those imagined scenes are finally experienced in their real lives on the street of Seoul. So basically, if I refer to it, what they saw on TVs or the phones and social media actually appear before their eyes in their real life. The things that their stars in the TV show, actually what they have done on the street of Seoul, they are experiencing it like they've become stars. So that's quite an experience, and it's like their daily life. So it's quite a memory for them.
And I can kind of relate to this. Like you said, like, I'm also from Seoul. I grew up in Seoul. But I remember when I went abroad, I was studying in the States. Like what I would do is I would log into Google Maps and then look at my town where I lived in.
Sure.
So I kind of understand that feeling of nostalgia, and it makes a lot of sense. And then it's really relatable. So, and I also, like I said, I grew up here, but I understand this excitement you feel when you finally visit a place you've only seen in books or on screens. So it really sounds like for many young visitors, Korea represents a kind of ideal, a place where they've admired their pop culture. It becomes something they can finally experience for themselves. So Brooke, has the Chinese media noticed this trend, and if so, what have they said about why young people are so captivated by Seoul?
Well, we've mentioned the Korean wave, but Chinese media and Chinese commentators have also pointed out they've pointed to more practical and structural factors that might be behind this feeling of Seoul homesickness. And I can really attest to this. As we all know, Korea is quite a safe country. There's CCTV everywhere that is installed, and it makes you feel safer at night, especially. It's also very easy to navigate, and the city boasts one of the most efficient and cleanest public transportation systems. I really can't speak highly enough of it. And additionally, Chinese analysts have pointed out that not only is it safe, efficient, and clean, but the no smoking culture in terms of the transit, people find that very appealing. Also, they say that female tourists feel more comfortable when they come to Korea because they have things like safe return services for late at night, so you can feel safer during those evening hours. And additionally, they say that it's just because Korea is very well connected. Seoul, the city's urban infrastructure, is extremely convenient and, like I said, easy to navigate. So for all of these reasons, people are finding it very, very tempting to come to Korea. Now, there are some critics of this Seoulbyong, and they say that it's because it reflects perhaps a tendency to maybe escape reality by coming to Korea and kind of going into this fantasy world, which could be detrimental emotionally. And I see their point, but honestly, I've lived here almost 10 years, and I would say that being here has changed my life for the better completely. I really love living in Korea. I think that order, convenience, calm, all of those things have become a part of Seoul's brand, and it's always in the headlines. And I think that's why we're seeing more and more people come. It's not just about the soft power, which we've mentioned. It's also about this sort of infrastructure that Korea has that just makes it really convenient to live in.
So like you said, it's not just K-pop or dramas, but the little things that like smoke-free atmospheres in Seoul's public spaces, or how safe people feel walking home at night. And I can see how that might feel refreshing or even ideal to someone visiting from a totally different environment. And it's also interesting that some people viewed it as escapism, maybe a sign that a lot of young people in China are looking for a bit of relief or freedom from daily pressures. And there are also a lot worse mediums to find place to escape. So I feel like this is not, it could be worse. And so to learn more, we are going to share our personal thoughts about this Seoul Syndrome, Seoulbyong experience. So that conversation will take place right after break, so don't go anywhere.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search out Channel Arirang News. Click Posts and cast your vote in the poll. Make a new type of news with us.
So now we're going to shift the conversation a bit and talk about what we've personally seen, heard, or experienced when it comes to this feeling of homesickness and longing for Seoul. So it's something that's resonating with so many people lately, even beyond China and among us too. So Ki, are you seeing a lot of young people in China feeling a strong longing or emotional attachment to Seoul after visiting? Are they missing the city and the experience they had there? You are a perfect person to ask because you have actually lived in China before, right?
Well, yeah, because I went to graduate school in China, and then, well, that that time was early 2010, so it's a bit different situation right now. But then many young Chinese travelers I know who've been to in Seoul right now, they often share their travel experiences on their own version of social media. For example, they don't have the access to Google, so that means they don't have Facebook or Instagram, like two probably one of the most famous platforms in all over the world where we constantly upload their posts. But then when you actually take a look at it, every time they go to Seoul, they upload the food and the beauty products they haven't bought, and they talk about the beauty treatments they haven't fully experienced. And many people organize their Seoul travel memories into photo albums and vlogs, feeling reluctant to looking back at them repeatedly. And then they even uploaded photos of their plane ticket, saying that they're going to go to Seoul again. And it's relatively closer, obviously. Seoul and Beijing or any part of China. Well, I'm not going to say any part, but the part of China are quite close. So, they always miss the easy experiences that they get from Seoul, and that's another thing. It's just like what Brooke was saying. They kind of make Seoul a fantasy world, sort of. So, for among the young generation, I guess Seoul is one of their top destinations to go nowadays.
Right, I feel like the fact that they're planning these repeat trips really says a lot about how much they appreciate Korea.
Sure.
So Brooke, what do you see as the positive and negative aspects of this trend though?
Well, I think the positives are obvious. It's just fun, right? It's fun to live in Korea. It's fun to even just visit Korea. There are many enriching life experiences that you can have here. You get to see another culture, see all of those spots that you've only seen in movies or in dramas, like we mentioned earlier. You can go to those places and experience them in real life. And so I think that there are many benefits to coming to visit and getting to have all of those great memories. If we go into the more negatives, I would say, like I mentioned earlier, some critics say that maybe it is a way of running away from their problems, that they perhaps are over idealizing Korean culture. The beauty standards here are talked about a lot. People worry that maybe they will develop, inferiority complexes, or perhaps they will try too many, beauty treatments or things like that. So that's a worry. Another worry is when you come for a visit, you might be so excited to see all of this, amazing fashion and beauty and all of the shops that you might irrationally spend. You might go on a little bit of a shopping spree. So I could understand all of these perhaps pitfalls of coming to Korea and getting so attached to it that you get this Seolbyung. But at the same time, I think it's a rather harmless term. I think what it's really speaking to is that nostalgic, kind of heartwarming feeling of going to a place that you really feel connected to. So I don't think that we should attach a negative connotation to this, because I've lived here, I love it here, and I would recommend anyone to come here. I think it's a great thing for both of the countries. It helps reduce any stereotypes between the two people. You can learn more about each other, learn more about each other's cultures. To me, it's all positive.
Right, I think learning about other people's cultures really makes you understand them better, and enriches your experience as well. So far we've talked about how Seoul is more than just a travel destination. It's a city that many dream about and long for even after returning home. And Brooke just highlighted the positive aspects of her personal experience as well that have made Seoul her home, which seem to far outweigh any of the challenges that were mentioned. So it's not just young travelers from China who are drawn to Korea. So Ki, what is it about Korea that's making it such a popular destination, especially for the younger generations? So why are more and more people choosing to visit?
Well, thanks to the K-wave, K-pop culture, interest in Korean culture keeps growing. But these days, travelers come to Seoul for many different reasons, not just K-drama landmarks or K-pop pilgrimages, especially with K-pop Demon Hunter booms going on. To be fair, this should date all the way back to early 2000 with Winter Sonata or 겨울연가, where the original K-wave actually started. So if you take a look at the screen together here, according to a survey by the Seoul Tourism Organization among foreign visitors who came to Korea last year, the top reasons for choosing Seoul was shopping and food and culinary experience. So shopping accounting for 57% and food was similar, accounting for 56%. And I was born and raised in Korea, so I didn't really appreciate how beautiful Seoul was. I think the Brooke can back me up on this. Seoul is actually a beautiful city, and that's why it accounted for 33% of people came to appreciate the view of Seoul. And the same survey also showed impressive numbers, a revisit rate of nearly 50%, and an overall satisfaction level stood at 92%. And that's a clear proof that Seoul continues to win the hearts around the world.
Right. So which result from that survey would be your personal favorite?
Well, for me, I've graduated from shopping, so for me, definitely food.
Food's a good answer.
Yeah.
Yep.
So shopping and food are all things that were mentioned, and so that actually doesn't surprise me. It's actually great that it's not just K-pop and dramas that are bringing people here. And with half of the visitors returning and 92% satisfaction rate, it's clear that people are really enjoying their time in Korea, which makes me guess that their travel experience is really more than about just ticking off the usual tourist spots. So Brooke, how are younger visitors from abroad experiencing Korea differently these days beyond the traditional sightseeing?
Well, I would say that young people, they want tourism these days that mirrors what Korean young people are actually doing in their daily lives. So some examples of these include the 인생 네컷, and that means life four-cut. It's just a style of photo booth picture, and I'm telling you, I have these all over my wall at home. I take them all the time with my friends. It's just a great way to document your memory that you are sharing together. They also want to go and eat tteokbokki. A lot of people like to do those spicy noodle challenges. They also love to go to the 편의점 or convenience store and again try out these snacks that they've seen go viral online. And another one that I want to talk about, this one is very special to me, very near and dear to my heart. PC bongs have become much more popular lately amongst tourists. One of my favorite activities is to go to a PC bong in Korea. I love to go with my friends, order some chapagetti and play some League of Legends. The atmosphere is just phenomenal. And I'm not the only foreigner who enjoys using PC bongs. In fact, one recent card data survey shows that foreigners' use of PC cafes is up by about 36% year over year. And this does not surprise me as you're seeing this delicious looking food on screen. That is a big draw. You do not have to be a big gamer to use these PC bongs. If you're a student, you want to do your homework, you can go there. I've seen people go to just watch a movie together. It is so nice to be there. They have these ultra fast connections, great setups, really nice equipment. The chairs are comfortable, and most importantly, these snacks and food. You can deliver them, order them right to your chair. It is so convenient. Most of these places are open 24 hours. So if you want to get one of the authentic Korean experiences, I would recommend going to the PC Bong.
So it's really interesting to see how lifestyle experiences are taking center stage for young visitors, from snapping photo booth pictures to grabbing street food and exploring convenience stores. And the fact that PC bongs are seeing a jump in foreign visitors shows how even ordinary aspects of Korean culture are becoming attractions in their own right. So aside from the fun stuff like food and photo booths, is there anything else that visitors really notice about Korea?
Well, many are amazed by how safe it feels, even for women walking alone in the street, and by the culture of honesty. You go to see a cafe and you see the phones and wallets unattended, and no one steals it, and then the delivery boxes that are located in front of your doorsteps, and still nothing goes wrong. That's amazing. And Regional 1 District in Seoul started a hologram AI security service near a bus stop, and it's getting positive views. So that's one of the Korea's most remarkable and heartwarming qualities that a lot of foreigners see nowadays.
Right, so from our conversation today, it's clear that there are so many things that people love about Korea. Like we've repeatedly said, it's not just about K-pop or K-dramas. There's also appreciation for the sense of comfort, safety, and everyday moments that make life here special. And to see what others find most nostalgic about Korea, we turned to the Arirang News YouTube channel and asked, what do you miss most about Korea while abroad? So let's see what they had to say. According to a poll, when asked about what makes them miss Korea the most, 40% said it's when they crave Korean food, while 37% mentioned moments when they worry about safety at night. Another 10% said it's when the internet feels slow, and 13% pointed to other reasons. So the results are actually so relatable: food, safety, and even the internet. It's funny but true. So once you've experienced those things in Korea, it's hard to not miss them when you're away. The convenience, the comfort, and the sense of security really stays with you. So to wrap up our discussion today, so keep bringing the conversation to you, beyond the famous landmarks, are there any other personal recommendations that you have?
Well, nowadays I would recommend you have 전어, which is a gizzard fish or yellow-tail fish, which is a 방어. 전어, there's an old saying that the 집 나간 며느리들, the runaway daughter-in-law, would turn back and return home because it's so delicious. So it's the season, so you should try it. It's authentic cuisines that you can't really try outside of Seoul. And also, there's a lot of great cafes in the northern part of Seoul where public transportation can't reach because it's located in the hilly area. So I really recommend you to actually stop by in those great areas.
So Korea's global appeal keeps growing, not just because of K-pop or K-dramas, but because visitors find something deeper. It's amazing how Korea has become more than just a travel destination. It's a feeling people carry with them. So whether it's discovering hidden spots, enjoying street food, or simply feeling at home in a new city, it's clear that Korea's appeal goes far beyond tourism. It's an experience that stays with you. And that brings us to the end of today's episode of News Generation, but News Gen will be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Korea time with more stories and discussions. A big thanks to Ki
Thank you.
for coming in, and also Brooke.
Thanks for having me.
And to our viewers, thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope you have the best day. We are
News Generation.